What's up, guys? Mitch from respectmyregion.com, and just wanted to do a little free game Friday around a conversation of how to leverage marketing content in alignment with sales. A lot of people think of content simply for marketing, but then there's obviously sales content. People create PDFs, pitch decks, menus, different things as sales content, and then they also create marketing content. Something that's very common that I see, and not just the cannabis space, but just in today's world, there's so many different social media platforms. There's so many different ways to service these platforms. It's you get lost in the sauce, and people just start shooting everywhere, and without much intention. But you can take the same content that you put out for marketing and leverage that for sales. Or when they come in alignment, I feel like that's where the magic really happens. Whether you're B2B or B2C, it doesn't matter. You're still trying to reach consumers. I hate the word B2B, B2C because business to business, business to consumer. If you're B2B, you still have consumers, clients, a target audience. It gets convoluted on the messaging there. That's why I don't like it, but it does make sense. Most folks and most brands create content when they think about content from the perspective of marketing or creating content. They simply think about content to put on social media, and I don't know why in cannabis it's simply Instagram. Everybody runs to Instagram. I get the importance of it. I get the brands like 710 Labs, Stizzy, Alien Labs. Some of these guys have really built cult followings with Instagram as their main driver of their business, but there's so few and far between the companies that have really leveraged Instagram to build their business and those that continually hit brick walls, getting shut down. Instagram is not friendly to this industry, so I do not understand why everyone puts so much importance, focus, labor, budget into solely Instagram. I still think it's a great outlet and it shouldn't be ignored. But I think that people get this tunnel vision on Instagram and ignore so many other channels. And one of the biggest things about marketing or sales or just putting stuff out in the world is, things being overplayed out, being crowded, not enough narrow focus. If you have a dispensary right here and then you open up another dispensary across the street and then one on each side of it, and then other people are like, I want to go open up a dispensary on that street because that's where dispensaries are opening. That's a terrible strategy, right? Because it's just overcrowded. It makes no sense. When you think about that same thing in relation to marketing, we see it over and over. That person's doing it and that person's doing it, so I should do it too. So everyone lines up in the same area, doing the same thing, looking the same exact way, putting the same messaging out to the same audience. How do you penetrate? You spend so much energy just trying to compete in a conversation rather than picking a lane and owning it and really taking value and leveraging it. I don't know. That's my rant about that. But anyways, back to what I was saying before I started ranting is a lot of people simply build content, put it on social media, and that's it. And we know in cannabis that social media is somewhere you lease, somewhere you rent. It's not an asset you own like a website, a customer list, whether that's SMS or newsletter. So you take content, you spend all this money on content, and you put it on something you lease, right? It's like leasing a car and getting a new paint job on it, putting rims on it, putting a new sound system on it to a car you still got to give back. You invest all this money in something that you don't own. It's not giving you any reciprocal value. But you build these companies continually build content, put it on a platform they lease, and that's it. Very few, very, very, very few people take that same content and put it on their website. And I get it. Not everyone has a web person. There's a lot of websites that haven't been updated in years. There's common issues. But if you're paying for content, why just put it on social media when you can put the same content on your website and it lives there forever, even if your Instagram account gets shut down? So, anyways, we see most people put marketing content simply on social media. They don't take it a step further and put it on their website. Some do. And very, very few do that and then take it another step further and arm their sales team with their content. And some people skip the website and do that. But content is important to your sales team. Your sales team is reaching out to people over and over. And again, whether your sales team is bud tenders that are dealing with consumers that are coming in the store, or you're a brand trying to get into dispensaries, you're constantly cold calling, messaging, hey, I want to follow up. Hey, have you checked this out? You're doing all these messaging, and anyone in sales knows it's about touches, it's about frequency, it's about staying top of mind. You have to make those cold calls. I have to call every week, every 2 weeks. Even if they said no, I might catch them when they say yes, or when they think, hey, they need my product or my price point, I'm the one that comes to mind. I mean, it's just the practice of sales. It's a numbers game. But it's hard to cut through on a sales route when you're doing this numbers game If you're simply coming through, hey, I wanted to check in. Hey, do you still want to buy? Do you still want to buy? There's ways to take content that you're leveraging on your social media and your website in maybe a B2C format that can leverage your company on a B2B format. That same content that you put explaining your value proposition, showcasing your products and your brand on social media or your website, your newsletter, SMS, that same content can be repurposed exactly or slightly altered and be armed with your sales team. Now your sales team is doing calls this week saying, hey, I'm not even calling for you guys to pick up a new order. I'm not even calling to bug in on the last three things I checked in. I'm not even worried about that invoice that's a week late. I'm just here to send you a new video showing how our products are made or why our products are different than the other, or a flyer, anything. You can create the same sort of content that has value, that's expressing your value propositions and why you're different to the consumer. It can also be used in a B2B setting. And we get paid to create a lot of content for brands, and we advise them to do this. And even with us being paid to create the content, explaining the value, and even explaining how to use it, very, very, very few people take it a step further and actually use it and implement it. And I get it's difficult operationally. Cannabis, there's a lot of small businesses, startups, a lot of people wearing a lot of hats, low capacity. It's difficult. But if we are being paid as experts to give people expert advice, create content, tell them how to use it, and they're not using it, I know for a fact those out there who aren't even paid for that level of consulting are definitely not using it. And so it's just taking that content. Don't just make content for social media. Make it for social media. Repurpose it for your website, and then repurpose it in your sales in your sales funnel. And if that content is aligned all the way through, from the marketing aspect all the way to the sales aspect, it's in alignment. The same branding, the same value proposition is being communicated. The messaging is easy to understand and digest. A bud tender or a buyer can understand the content the same way that a consumer can understand it. You're on to something. You can really be successful and penetrate. The rule, I don't know, there's the rule of seven, 13, different industries have different ones. But whether you're talking about sales, it takes X amount of touches to convert on a sale. You're talking about reaching consumers, it takes X amount of times of hearing a brand or seeing something before you take action on it. It's the same. So content can help facilitate both sides of those touches. It can be more times to touch consumers, more time to touch people's leads in your sales funnel. So use it. And most brands are creating content. They're just not simply using it, taking it that extra step further and use it. And so, the three different things, and it's crazy when it comes to creating content or anything, it comes back to like the basic principles. Everybody's always looking for the secret sauce, the cheat code. How can I do this or growth hack, whatever the fuck? But it comes down to like the basic principles, and when we look at creating content, is one, what is the goal? What is our goal? What is something we're trying to do? Two, you use that goal to define your audience. Now we know what we want to do. Who do we want to reach? How are we going to achieve this? Who are the people that need to know what what we're trying to talk about to get to this goal? And when you have those two things figured out, and then you have your budget figured out, that comes your blueprint. There's an unlimited different ways to market. No way is right or wrong. One person could say billboards are the absolute worst spend, and there can be another shop that says all the marketing we do is on billboards and our business is booming. Same thing as Instagram. There's no right or wrong formula for anyone. Whatever works for someone might not work for someone else. But again, if you understand your goal of what you want to do, you understand who you want to reach, and then you know the budget that you have to work with to accomplish this goal and reach who you want to reach. That is how you are able to build out the A, B, C, and D roadmaps, and then you can choose what you think is right. And then pretty much you execute, you analyze it, and then you take a step further, optimize it, refine it, and you repeat. You put a clip in, you let it go, and then you take it out, see how many targets you hit, how effective it was. You throw another clip in, and you dump it out again. It's honestly how sales and marketing. That's the basics of it. People are all, like I said, they're always looking for secret sauce. It comes down to just thinking, and we like to preach goal first because that's the intention. If you don't have a goal, if you don't have a destination, where the fuck are you going to go? You're just wandering around aimlessly in the dark. And so many companies do that with marketing. Um, and this is how, again, aligning marketing with sales. And when you have this goal, when you have this audience, and you have your roadmaps, and you look at your roadmaps, is this marketing in alignment with sales? Do we feel like we're effectively communicating the messaging we want to message or our value proposition to the audience we want to reach, and will that get to our goal? And you don't know, when you enter any sort of campaign or marketing initiative, you don't know, and so you have to have a best estimate or a little gut intuition. And back to what I said at the start is on this crowded thing. When I use that example of dispensaries, a dispensary pops up here, another one pops up across the street, and everywhere, everyone starts running to that area to open up dispensaries. That's not physically happening per se in the dispensary world. People would say that's absolutely asinine and crazy. Why would you ever do that? But then when you look at marketing or Instagram or content, that's essentially what everybody is doing. That exact example there, and so it's um, you should think of your goal whenever you do marketing. It shouldn't be, oh, well, because they're doing it, or it's because of this. It's what is the intention? Like, what do I want from this? And because everyone else is doing it, or because so and so is doing it, you know what your mom tell you just because they said they did it, and then you did it, man, you get smacked upside the head for that. The same thing in this world. Don't do something simply because other people are doing it. Do it because it's going to be impactful for your business. Do it because you understand your goal is defined and you feel like you could achieve that goal, not because other people are doing it. It's way too hard to penetrate in a crowded market. It's way easier to own your own lane and penetrate messaging in that. It doesn't make any sense to do what everyone else is doing. And the three different ways that we feel like good content can really work, right? Because you're supposed to leverage, if you create a piece of content, that content is supposed to live on for more than one moment. And again, back to the example, brands will pay for a video or whatever. They'll put that video up on their IG wall and it'll live there for God knows how long until the page is deleted. And that's pretty much all they did with it. That content can be not only reused over and over, posted in the story, posted on other social media channels, could also be put in your sales outreach, inserted in the sales funnel. It could also be put in your SMS messaging. It could also be put in your newsletter. It can be used in a variety of different mediums. Don't pay for content to use it one time, one way. Use it many times, many ways. And good content, we feel like, facilitates a few different things. One of them is online searchability. And when you create content and put it on Instagram, you don't get to benefit from searchability unless people are searching for hashtags. But not a lot of people are on their phone. I wonder cannabis industry. I wonder what cool, fun stuff I could find from this that I'm going to go take action and purchase. People aren't really thinking about that. So if you understand what your target consumer is, what are some of the things that target consumer is putting in search queries on the internet to get to what they want to get? If they want to find new products, if they want to find information, if they want to be educated, if they want to solve a problem or find a solution to an issue, what is that search query that target consumer is putting into Google? Can you create content that answers that search query and has the proper SEO where you rank for that? That same type of piece of content that can leverage searchability can also be leveraged in your outreach, in your sales outreach, on your social media, on your website. So thinking and understanding like the different ways content can be used. And I keep ranting, but I'm gonna go back to the three different things that we think of like where content is fully maximized. Is when you have online searchability, you can leverage that. Content that can arm your sales team. Again, taking that same content that might be B2C or outward facing, just content or marketing, but that can be circled back and used for your sales team to increase sales. And then thirdly, content that can be used in a brand or company's outreach, right? So searchability, content, I search it, I find it. That's how I'm finding the content. It can be used that way. Secondly, my sales team can take it and use that to use some touches to get some more sales, to strengthen some relationships, to build some brand awareness. And thirdly, that content can be repurposed internally multiple ways, multiple times. That is like the three pillars, the pyramid, whatever fucking diagram or metaphor you want to use of how content can fully be leveraged. There's a ton of great options of people out there to create content. People are creating internally using agencies. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if you're creating the content on your fucking cell phone or you're paying $20,000 for some high class video production. It doesn't really matter. Does that content, is it in alignment with your goal? Is it have a chance to reach the target audience? And then does it follow that thing? Is it searchable? Can I put it in a place that's searchable online and has value in that regard? Is it valuable and can it be leveraged for my sales team? And can I repurpose that content across different mediums? Those are just different things to think about. Just something I wanted to rant about today a little bit. If anyone has any questions, any thoughts, they think I'm a fucking idiot, whatever, they disagree, let me know in the comments. I'll gladly debate you. I'll thumbs up if you show me love. Or we could just talk about weed, marketing, whatever. Please let us know in the comments if you're on YouTube, subscribe over here, something like that. I hope you guys got some value out of this. I just constantly see this going on, and I just don't think I think people get caught in the rat race, and it's human nature. It's not just cannabis, it's not just marketing. People get caught in the rat race of creating content just to create content or doing what everyone else is doing just because that's what everyone else is doing and not coming up with their own lane and think taking a step further and having, what is my goal? What is my intention? And aligning something that is in alignment with their intention. So many people just do, monkey see, monkey do, not, what is my intent with this? And am I leveraging it? I don't know. Just what I got to say. Hope you guys got something out of it. If not, like I said, please let some hate in the comments. I embrace it. I love it. Thank you guys.